The spit landed directly on Loretta's face. Warm, deliberate. Venom leaned in so close their noses almost touched. "Welcome to my house, fat pig." She grabbed a fistful of Loretta's graying braids and yanked her head back until her neck screamed. "You see all these women watching there waiting to see what I do to fresh meat like you." Her crew laughed, circling like hyenas. "Every pound on that disgusting body is going to cost you, starting right now." She drove her knee into Loretta's stomach, dropping her to the concrete. What Venom didn't know, what none of them could possibly know, was that the trembling woman gasping at her feet had spent 18 years as a Marine Raider. Sergeant Major Loretta Tank Washington had killed men in 7 countries, survived torture in a Syrian black site, and completed missions so classified that even the president didn't know the details. The only reason Venom was still breathing was because Loretta was counting. Counting seconds. Counting threats. Counting the cost of revealing what she really was. Stay with me until the very end, because what happens next in this prison yard will change everything you think you know about strength, sacrifice, and a mother's love. Subscribe to my channel and comment below which city you're watching from. I want to see just how far this story travels around the world. Now, let's begin. 47 hours earlier, Loretta Washington had walked through the gates of Thornwood Women's Correctional Facility with nothing but a prison-issued uniform and 18 years of secrets. The intake officer didn't look up. His fingers moved across the keyboard with the mechanical rhythm of someone who had processed 10,000 women and stopped seeing them as human beings around number 500. Washington Loretta, embezzlement, 8 years. Yes, sir. Age, 47. Wait. Loretta paused. The number had climbed steadily over the past 3 years ever since she stopped caring about anything except keeping her daughter alive. 280. The officer's fingers stopped. He looked up for the first time, scanning her from head to toe with the kind of assessment that made her skin crawl. Medical conditions, high blood pressure, controlled. Gang affiliations, no sir. Military service. The question hit like a bullet. Loretta felt her pulse spike, felt the familiar flood of adrenaline that had kept her alive in places this man couldn't imagine, but she had practiced this answer 1,000 times. No sir. He stamped her paperwork. Cell Block D next. And just like that, Sergeant Major Loretta Tank Washington became inmate 447892. The guard who escorted her walked 3 steps ahead, never looking back. His name tag read Morrison. Former military, Loretta noted automatically. Army, probably Rangers, based on his gait and the way he held his shoulders. She filed the information away the same way she had filed intelligence in Kabul, Damascus, and places that didn't exist on any map. Block D is run by 3 crews, Morrison said, his voice flat. Stay invisible, you might survive. Cause problems, nobody will help you. Clear, clear. Your cellmate is Destiny Price, young and stupid, but not a killer. Count yourself lucky. He stopped at a cell halfway down the block, unlocked the door, and waited. Loretta stepped inside. The door slammed behind her with a sound that echoed through her bones. Destiny Price looked up from her bunk. 23 years old, braids to her shoulders, eyes that had aged decades in a short life. She held a worn magazine but wasn't reading it. You the new one. Looks like it. What you in for? Money I shouldn't have taken. Destiny studied her for a long moment. You don't look like no thief. What do thieves look like? Younger, meaner, hungry. Loretta lowered herself onto the empty bunk, feeling the thin mattress give under her weight. Maybe I'm all 3 and you just can't see it. Destiny laughed, a real sound that seemed impossible in this gray concrete box. Okay, Grandma, I like you already. I'm Destiny. Loretta. Well, Loretta, let me tell you how this place works before somebody else tells you the hard way. 3 queens run Block D. Nordic queens handle contraband, all white girls, Aryan Brotherhood connections outside. Las Sombras run protection, mostly Latina, you pay them or you bleed. And then there's the Black Mambas. Who runs them? The laughter died in Destiny's throat. Her face changed like someone had flipped a switch. Vanessa Carter. They call her Venom. Been queen of this block for 6 years. Her brother Marcus is serious money outside. Drugs, guns, trafficking. If it's dirty and profitable, he owns a piece. And Venom, she's his recruiter. Finds women with skills or desperation, breaks them down, builds them back up, loyal to Marcus. When they get out, they work for him. Forever. What happens to women who won't be recruited? Destiny shook her head slowly. You don't want to know? Trust me. You really don't want to know. How do I stay off her radar? You don't. She already knows your name, your charges, probably your shoe size. Only question is whether she wants to use you or hurt you, sometimes both. Loretta absorbed this like she had absorbed thousands of intelligence briefings. Threat assessment, power structures, vulnerabilities, escape routes. When will she come for me? Destiny's eyes widened. Most new fish ask how to avoid her. You're the first one who ever asked when. I like to know what's coming. Then you should know this. Venom tests everyone. Usually takes about a week. She sends her people to collect tribute $20 commissary, and if you can't pay... What? Last woman who couldn't pay got her face dragged across the shower floor, lost most of her teeth. Before that, a girl named Shanice tried to fight back. They found her hanging in her cell 2 days later. Called it suicide. Was it... Destiny didn't answer. She didn't have to. Loretta lay back on her bunk and stared at the ceiling. 47 cracks in the concrete. She would count them every night for the next 8 years. Unless Venom killed her first. The first 3 days, Loretta became invisible. She worked her assigned job in the prison kitchen chopping vegetables alongside women who had committed every crime imaginable. She ate alone always with her back to the wall, always with clear sightlines to every exit. She spoke only when spoken to and never made eye contact with anyone who looked like trouble. But she watched. God, she watched everything. She watched Razor Venom's enforcer move through the cafeteria like a shark through bloody water. She watched the Nordic queens conduct their contraband business in the laundry room, cash and drugs changing hands in the fold of bedsheets. She watched Las Sombras collect protection money from terrified inmates who couldn't afford to say no. And she watched Venom. The queen of Block D never raised her voice. Never threw a punch. Never needed to. She ruled through intelligence, through patience, through a network of eyes and ears that knew everything happening within these walls. On day 2, Loretta saw Venom watching her across the cafeteria. Their eyes met for exactly 2 seconds. Venom smiled a cold expression that never reached her eyes, then looked away. That night, Loretta couldn't sleep. You're thinking loud, Destiny whispered in the darkness. What's wrong? Venom looked at me today. She looks at everyone. This was different, like she was measuring me for something. Destiny was quiet for a moment. Maybe she was. Venom's got a gift for seeing what people really are. It's how she finds the ones worth recruiting. It's also how she finds the ones worth destroying. Which one am I? I don't know yet, neither does she. That's why she's watching. Day 3 brought the first test. Loretta was in the kitchen working her station, keeping her head down. The industrial fans roared overhead, barely cutting through the heat and the smell of institutional food that nobody would willingly eat. She sensed them before she saw them. 3 women moving through the steam with purpose. Other inmates scattered like birds creating space, clearing the path. You the new fat one? Loretta looked up. The speaker was tall, wiry, with a scar running from her eyebrow to her jaw. Prison tattoos covered both arms. Her name tag said Robinson, but Loretta already knew they called her Razor. I'm just doing my job. Didn't ask what you were doing. Asked if you're the new fat one. Yes. Shh. Razor smiled with teeth that had seen better days. Venom sent me with a message. You pay tribute by Friday. $20 commissary. That's how it works for new fish. And if I don't have $20, then you work it off. Venom's got plenty of jobs for a big girl like you. Kitchen detail, laundry runs, whatever she needs. You work until your debt is cleared. What debt? I haven't borrowed anything from anyone. Razor leaned in close. Her breath smelled like cigarettes and decay. You owe because Venom says you owe. That's how it works in her house. You got a problem with that fat girl. Loretta's training screamed at her. 18 years of muscle memory, calculating angles, distances, vulnerabilities. Razor was 4 feet away, right-handed weight on her back foot. The 2 behind were close, but off balance, not expecting resistance from a fat, middle-aged woman. 3 seconds. Razor's throat, solar plexus knee. Down and choking. Pivot to the left, 1 elbow, strike to the temple. Spin to the right 1, palm strike to the nose, driving bone into brain. All 3 dead in 4 seconds. But she wasn't Sergeant Major Tank anymore. She was inmate 447892, a frightened accountant who had stolen money for her sick daughter. No problem, she said, letting her voice tremble. I'll figure something out. Razor straightened, satisfied with the fear she saw. Smart. Venom like smart. Friday. Don't be late. They walked away and Loretta resumed chopping vegetables with hands that wanted to kill. That night she called her daughter. Officer Morrison had arranged it 5 minutes of phone time after dinner. A small mercy in a merciless place. The phone rang 3 times, then a voice weak but alive. Hello. Maya, baby girl, it's Mama. Silence, then crying. The sound of her daughter's tears traveled through the phone line and shattered something in Loretta's chest. Mama, oh God, Mama, I miss you so much. I miss you every day. I miss you too, baby, more than you'll ever know. Are you okay? Please tell me you're okay. I can't sleep thinking about you in that place. Loretta closed her eyes. How do you tell your daughter that you're counting down the days until a prison gang comes to collect a debt you can't pay? I'm fine, baby, just fine. Tell me about you. How's the treatment? The doctors say my numbers are improving. The new medication is working. They think I might actually beat this thing, Mama. Relief hit Loretta like a wave. All the sacrifice, all the risk, all the years she would spend in this cage. Worth it. Every second worth it. That's wonderful, baby. That's the best news I've heard in months. When are you coming home? The question cut deep. 8 years. Maya would be 24 when Loretta got out, a grown woman. All those years lost forever. Soon as I can, baby. Soon as I can. I love you, Mama. I love you so much. I love you too. More than my own life. You just focus on getting better. Fight hard and I'll fight hard and we'll get through this together, okay? Okay, Mama? Okay. Morrison tapped his watch. Time was up. I have to go, baby, but I'll call again soon, I promise. Bye, Mama. Please be careful. Always, sweet girl, always. The line went dead. Loretta stood there for a long moment, pressing the phone against her ear, listening to nothing, holding on to the echo of her daughter's voice. Then she hung up and walked back to her cell, where Destiny was waiting with questions in her eyes. You talked to her. Yeah. She okay? Getting better? Treatment's working? That's good. That's real good, Loretta. Loretta sat on her bunk and let the tears come. Not sobbing, just silent streams down her cheeks. All the weight she carried, all the fear and guilt and desperate love, it poured out in the darkness. You really love her, Destiny said softly. She's everything. The only good thing I ever did in my whole life. Then you gotta survive this place, whatever it takes. You hear me? I hear you. Friday's coming fast. You got a plan. Working on it. But Loretta didn't have a plan. She had $12 and a countdown to pain. Day 4 changed everything. Loretta was in the yard during afternoon recreation, sitting alone on a concrete bench, watching the other inmates move through their routines. Watching. Always watching. She saw Venom holding court near the basketball hoops, surrounded by her lieutenants. She saw the Nordic Queens clustering near the weight equipment, pale skin and cold eyes. She saw Las Sombras playing cards at a picnic table, laughter masking the constant assessment of threats. She didn't see the woman approaching until a shadow fell across her face. Mind if I sit? Loretta looked up. The woman was older, maybe 60, with gray hair pulled back tight and a face that had weathered decades of hard time. Her prison uniform was cleaner than most pressed with the kind of care that spoke of old habits and older pride. Free country, sort of. The woman sat down with the careful movements of someone whose body had started to betray them. I'm Margaret. Been here 22 years. Seen a lot of new fish come and go. Loretta. Been here 4 days. I know who you are. Everyone knows who you are. New fat girl in Block D, Razor already came to collect. News travels fast. Only news worth knowing. Margaret turned to look at her directly. You're different from the others. Noticed it the first day you walked in. Different how? The way you move, the way you watch everything, the way you took Razor's threats without flinching even though every other new fish would have been crying. Loretta kept her face neutral. Maybe I'm just tired. Maybe. Or maybe you're something else entirely. Margaret leaned closer, dropping her voice. I spent 30 years as a prison nurse before I ended up on the other side. I've seen thousands of inmates. I know what fear looks like, what submission looks like, what broken looks like, and you don't look like any of those things. What do I look like? Margaret studied her for a long moment. Like someone waiting, watching, calculating. Like a predator pretending to be prey. Loretta's blood ran cold. If this old woman could see through her, others could too. Venom could. You're imagining things. Am I? Then why did your breathing just change? Why did your hands just shift into a defensive position? Why are you already calculating how to neutralize me if I become a threat? The words hit like bullets. Loretta forced herself to relax, to breathe normally, to project the harmless facade she had maintained for 4 days. I don't know what you're talking about. Margaret smiled, but it was sad. I'm not your enemy, Loretta. I'm just an old woman who's seen too much and knows too much. Whatever you are, whatever you're hiding, it won't stay hidden for long. This place has a way of stripping everything away until only the truth remains. She stood up slowly, her knees cracking with the effort. Friday's coming, Razor's coming, and when you can't pay, you'll have a choice to make. Stay hidden and suffer, or reveal what you really are and face the consequences. What consequences? Margaret looked down at her with eyes that had witnessed 2 decades of prison violence. If you're what I think you are, Venom will either try to recruit you or try to kill you, maybe both, and the women who follow her will do whatever she commands. And if I'm just a scared accountant who stole money, then God help you, because nobody else will. She walked away, leaving Loretta alone with the weight of exposure. That night, Loretta couldn't sleep. Margaret's words echoed in her mind like gunfire. Predator pretending to be prey. Was she really that obvious? Had she really been so arrogant to think she could hide 18 years of elite military training behind a mask of fat and fear? She thought about her unit. The men and women she had served with, fought with, bled with. They would have spotted her immediately, recognized the signs, understood what she was. But she wasn't surrounded by operators. She was surrounded by inmates, most of whom had never seen real violence, real training, real combat. Except Margaret had seen it in 4 days. And if Margaret had seen it, Venom had definitely seen it. The question was what Venom planned to do about it. Friday arrived like an execution date. Loretta had scraped together $12. She had traded breakfast portions, done small favors, even given up her shower time in exchange for commissary credits. It wasn't enough. She knew it wasn't enough. The yard was crowded when Razor found her. More crowded than usual. Word had spread. The inmates wanted to see what happened when the new fat girl couldn't pay. You got my money. Loretta stood up slowly, facing Razor and the 2 Mambas flanking her. Beyond them, she could see the crowd gathering, watching, waiting. I have $12. I can get the rest by next week. Razor laughed. The sound was ugly, filled with anticipation. 12, that's 8 short. Interest makes it 30 now. 30, that wasn't the deal. Deal changed. Venom's rules. You don't like it, take it up with her. Behind Razor, the crowd parted. Venom walked through like a queen approaching her throne. She moved with the confidence of absolute power, flanked by 6 more Mambas. This wasn't a collection. This was an execution. Ms. Washington. Venom's voice was soft, almost pleasant. I've been looking forward to meeting you properly. My girls tell me you've been asking questions, watching everything, moving through my house like you're mapping it. I'm just trying to survive. Are you? Because that's not what I see. Venom circled her slowly, eyes scanning every inch. What I see is a woman who doesn't flinch when she should, doesn't cry when she should, doesn't beg when she should. She stopped directly in front of Loretta, close enough to whisper. What I see is a woman who's hiding something, and I don't like secrets in my house. I'm not hiding anything. No, then why does the background check my brother ran come up empty before 2006? No birth certificate, no school records, no employment history. It's like you didn't exist until 15 years ago. Loretta's heart stopped. Venom smiled. Oh yes, I know. The question is, what are you really? CIA, FBI, military intelligence, something even more classified. I'm an accountant. I stole money for my sick daughter, that's all. Then prove it. Venom stepped back and gestured to Razor. My girl here is going to hurt you, badly. And you're going to take it like the scared little accountant you claim to be. Because if you fight back, if you show me what you really are, then we both know this conversation changes. The trap was perfect. Fight and reveal herself. Don't fight and get beaten, maybe killed. Loretta looked at the faces surrounding her. Hungry faces, scared faces, faces that had already decided she was finished. Then she looked at Venom, and she made her choice. I won't fight. Razor grinned and pulled a sharpened piece of plastic from her waistband. Prison shiv. Deadly if used right. Last chance to show me what you really are, Venom said. Loretta said nothing. The first blow caught her in the stomach. She doubled over, gasping, not having to fake the pain. Razor knew exactly where to hit. The second blow opened a cut above her eye. Blood streamed down her face, warm and wet. The third blow took her legs out. She hit the concrete hard, feeling her ribs crack against the ground. Then the kick started. Loretta curled into a ball, protecting her vital organs, absorbing the punishment. Every impact sent fire through her body. Every kick tested her resolve. Her training screamed at her to fight, to end this in 3 seconds, to show these animals what a real predator looked like. But Maya's face floated behind her eyes. Her daughter needed her to survive, needed her to come home in 8 years, needed her to stay hidden. So she took the beating. She took it for her daughter. She took it until Venom finally raised her hand and Razor stepped back, breathing hard from the exertion. Enough! Loretta lay on the concrete, blood pooling beneath her face ribs, screaming, vision blurred. But she was alive. Venom crouched down beside her. Interesting. You didn't fight? Any normal person would have at least tried to defend themselves, but you just took it, like you were choosing to suffer. Loretta said nothing. Speaking felt impossible. That's not normal, Ms. Washington. That's training. That's discipline. That's something I can use. She grabbed Loretta's chin and forced her to meet her gaze. I don't know what you are yet, but I'm going to find out. And when I do, you're either going to work for me or you're going to disappear. Those are your only options. She stood up and gestured to her crew. Clean her up. Put her back in her cell. We're not done with her yet. The Mambas pulled Loretta to her feet and dragged her across the yard. The other inmates watched in silence. No one helped. No one intervened. That was the rule in Thornwood. You survived alone or you didn't survive at all. In the infirmary, a bored nurse cleaned Loretta's wounds while Officer Morrison watched from the doorway. 3 cracked ribs? The nurse said. Deep laceration above the eye needs stitches, multiple contusions. You're lucky to be alive. Doesn't feel lucky. It never does. The nurse finished her work and left. Morrison closed the door behind her. We need to talk. Loretta looked up at him through her one good eye. The other had swollen shut. About what? About who you really are. Morrison pulled a chair close and sat down. I spent 8 years in Army Special Forces. I know what operators look like. I know how they move, how they breathe, how they process threats. I'm just an accountant. An accountant who absorbed a beating that would have killed most people. An accountant who never once moved to defend herself, even though I watched you calculate every counter-move in real time. He leaned forward. An accountant whose medical records show old fractures in both hands consistent with years of hand-to-hand combat training. You're imagining things. I ran your name through some back channels. Loretta Washington doesn't exist before 2006. That's a legend, a cover identity. Military intelligence, maybe CIA, maybe something even more classified. Loretta was silent for a long moment. Why are you telling me this? Because Venom saw the same things I saw. She knows you're something special, and her brother Marcus is very interested in recruiting people with special skills. Recruiting for what? His organization. Drugs, weapons, human trafficking, whatever pays. He's been using Thornwood as a recruitment ground for years. Women with military training, women with nothing to lose, women who'll do anything for money when they get out. Morrison reached into his pocket and pulled out a plain white business card. Black text, a phone number, and a single name, Holloway. Federal agent, Homeland Security. She's been building a case against Marcus Carter for 3 years. She needs someone on the inside, someone with your skills. You want me to be an informant. I want you to be what you've always been. A soldier, a protector. The women Marcus traffics have daughters too. They have mothers, they have people who love them. Loretta looked at the card for a long time. My daughter needs me to survive, not to play spy games. Your daughter needs you to come home to a world that's not run by people like Marcus Carter. You can survive your sentence and walk out those gates in 8 years, but what kind of world will she be living in if men like Marcus keep operating? The question hung in the air like smoke. Morrison stood up. Think about it. That number is a direct line. Call when you're ready to do more than just survive. He left, and Loretta was alone with her wounds and her choices. Back in the cell, Destiny was waiting with fear in her eyes. Oh my God, Loretta, your face. It looks worse than it feels. That's a lie, and we both know it. Destiny helped her onto the bunk, careful not to touch the bandaged areas. I heard what happened. Everyone heard. Venom made an example of you. She did. What are you going to do? Loretta stared at the ceiling. Still 47 cracks. The concrete didn't change even when everything else fell apart. I don't know yet. You gotta do something. She said she's not done with you. That means more pain is coming. I know. Destiny was quiet for a moment. Then, there's something I gotta tell you. Something I probably should have told you the first day. What? My cousin Shay. She was here 3 years ago. Military background, Army medic. Venom found out, tried to recruit her. Shay said no. What happened? Destiny's voice dropped to barely a whisper. They found her body in the laundry room. Accident, they said. Industrial washing machine malfunction, but everybody knew the truth. The words settled over Loretta like a funeral shroud. Why are you telling me this? Because you're the same as her. I can feel it. You're not just some accountant who made a mistake. You're something more, and Venom's going to figure that out if she hasn't already. Loretta turned her head to look at her young cellmate. What if I was something more? Would that change how you see me? Shay was something more, didn't save her. That's not what I asked. Destiny met her eyes directly. My whole life, people told me to be scared of dangerous folks, but dangerous folks are the only ones who ever protected me when it mattered. So no, it wouldn't change nothing. Loretta reached out and squeezed Destiny's hand. Thank you for being honest. We're cellmates. That's got to mean something in a place like this. It does. It means more than you know. The lights went out, plunging the cell into darkness. Loretta lay awake, listening to the sounds of the prison at night. Distant coughs, muffled crying, the endless hum of fluorescent lights in the corridor. She thought about the business card hidden in her mattress, about Agent Holloway and her case against Marcus Carter, about all the women being trafficked, bought and sold while she hid behind her cover story. She thought about Shay, the army medic who said no and paid with her life. She thought about Maya fighting for survival in a hospital bed in Atlanta. And she thought about Sergeant Major Loretta Tank Washington, who had spent 18 years protecting her country and couldn't even protect herself without risking everything. The choice was impossible, but impossible choices were what Marine Raiders did best. 3 cells away, Venom was making a phone call. The prison's communication network was officially monitored, but Venom had arrangements, guards who looked the other way, equipment that couldn't be traced, connections that reached far beyond Thornwood's walls. Marcus, it's me. Her brother's voice crackled through the contraband cell phone. What do you have? Remember that fat woman I told you about, the one whose background came up empty, the possible Fed? I don't think she's a Fed. I think she's something else, something better. Explain. I had Razor beat her today. Bad beating, the kind that would make any normal person fight back or break down. She did neither. She just took it. Controlled her breathing, protected her organs, absorbed the punishment like she was trained to. Marcus was silent for a moment. Special Forces? That's my guess. Marine, maybe Army. Whatever she is, she's been through worse than anything we can do to her. And she didn't fight back. Not once, even when Razor pulled a shiv. She calculated every counter move. I could see it in her eyes, but she chose not to act. That's discipline. That's someone maintaining cover. So she's hiding something. Definitely. The question is why. And why here? Why now? Could be planted. FBI, DEA, Homeland Security. Maybe, but there's something else. Venom's voice dropped lower. I looked in her eyes, Marcus, right after the beating. There was something there. Something I've never seen before. What? Not fear, not anger, not pain. It was more like pity, like she felt sorry for us, like she knew something we didn't. The line was quiet for several seconds. Keep watching her. Find out everything you can. If she's an asset, I want her. If she's a threat, I want her eliminated. And if she's both, Marcus laughed, a cold sound that carried no humor, then she's exactly what we've been looking for. Someone that dangerous, that disciplined, that skilled. Imagine what she could do for our organization. Or to our organization. That's why you need to find out which one she is, before it's too late. Venom ended the call and sat in the darkness of her cell, thinking. The fat woman was a puzzle, and Venom had built her empire by solving puzzles. Whatever Loretta Washington was hiding, she would uncover it, and then she would decide whether to use it or destroy it. Either way, the new fish's days of anonymity were over. In the infirmary bed where she was supposed to be resting, Loretta lay awake and stared at the ceiling. She had made her decision. Tomorrow she would call the number on that business card. She would talk to Agent Holloway. She would find out exactly what Homeland Security needed from her. And then Sergeant Major Loretta Tank Washington would do what she had always done. Complete the mission. No matter the cost. She just prayed the cost wouldn't be her daughter's future, or her own life. 3 days after the beating, Loretta made the call. Officer Morrison escorted her to a private room in the administrative wing, a space normally reserved for attorney visits. He handed her a burner phone and stepped outside without a word. The phone rang twice. Holloway. This is Loretta Washington. Morrison gave me your number. Silence. Then, I was wondering when you'd call. How are the ribs? Cracked. Not broken. I've had worse. I know. I've read your file. All of it. The parts that exist anyway. Loretta gripped the phone tighter. What exactly do you want from me? Straight to business, I like that. Agent Holloway's voice was crisp professional, but carried an undertone of urgency. Marcus Carter's organization has been expanding for 6 years. Drugs, weapons, human trafficking. We estimate he's moved over 2,000 women through his network. Girls as young as 14. And you can't touch him. Every witness disappears. Every informant ends up dead. Every agent we've tried to plant gets identified within weeks. Marcus has connections inside law enforcement, inside the courts, inside the federal system itself. So you want someone he can't identify, someone already inside his sister's operation. Someone with your particular skill set, someone who can survive whatever venom throws at them and come out the other side with actionable intelligence. Loretta closed her eyes. My daughter. Full protection. Witness security protocols. The best medical care available, fully covered. I've already started the paperwork. And if I say no, then you serve your 8 years, hope venom doesn't kill you before your release date, and walk out into a world where Marcus Carter is still destroying families. Holloway paused. But you won't say no. How do you know that? Because I read your psych evaluations from Raider selection. Every single one said the same thing. Loretta Washington cannot walk away from people who need protection. It's not in her DNA. The words hit like a punch. 18 years of service distilled down to a single truth. What's the mission? Get recruited. Get inside Marcus's operation. Find out who his contacts are inside law enforcement. Document everything. When we have enough, we take down the entire network. Timeline. However long it takes. Weeks. Months. We move when we're ready, not before. Loretta opened her eyes. And my cover stays intact until you decide otherwise. As far as Venom knows, you're exactly what you appear to be. A desperate mother who made bad choices and might be willing to make worse ones for money. She already suspects I'm more than that. I know, use it. Let her think she's recruiting a former operator who's fallen on hard times. That's exactly the profile Marcus looks for. And if she decides I'm too dangerous to recruit, then we extract you. Emergency protocols. Morrison is our inside man. He'll get you out if things go sideways. Loretta was quiet for a long moment. Somewhere in this prison, Venom was planning her next move. Somewhere outside these walls, Marcus Carter was destroying lives. And somewhere in Atlanta, Maya was fighting to survive. I'm in. I knew you would be. Morrison will provide secure communication equipment. Report daily if possible, weekly at minimum. And Loretta? Yeah. Thank you for doing this. I know what it costs. You don't know anything about what it costs, but I'll do it anyway. She ended the call and sat alone in the empty room, feeling the weight of the mission settling onto her shoulders. Sergeant Major Tank was back in the field. God help anyone who got in her way. The next 48 hours changed everything. Loretta returned to her cell to find Destiny pacing like a caged animal. Where were you? Morrison pulled you out hours ago. I thought maybe they transferred you or something worse. Attorney visit. Paperwork about my case. Destiny stopped pacing and stared at her. You're lying. Excuse me. I've been locked up with liars my whole life, Loretta. I know what they look like, and you look different than you did this morning. Something happened. Loretta sat on her bunk buying time to construct a plausible story, but Destiny wasn't finished. You made a decision. I can see it in your eyes. Something big. Destiny. No, listen to me. Whatever you're planning, whatever you're about to do, I want in. You don't know what you're asking. I'm asking to help. I'm asking to be part of something bigger than just surviving this hellhole. Destiny sat down across from her, intensity burning in her young eyes. My mama died while I was in here. Couldn't even hold her hand at the end. You know what that does to a person. I can imagine. No, you can't. Nobody can unless they've lived it. But you know what kept me going. The thought that maybe someday I could do something that mattered. Something that would make her proud. This isn't your fight. Everything in this place is my fight. Venom's people killed my cousin Shay. They've hurt every woman I care about. They're the reason this whole block lives in fear. Destiny leaned forward. Whatever you're planning to do to them, I want to help. Loretta studied her cellmate's face. 23 years old, smart, tough, damaged but not broken. In another life, she might have been an operator herself. If I tell you something, it stays between us, forever. You understand? I understand. I'm not just an accountant. I know. I spent 18 years in the Marine Corps, special operations, the kind of work that doesn't show up in any file. Destiny's eyes widened, but she didn't speak. Venom suspects something. Her brother is very interested in recruiting people with my background. They want to use me. So what are you going to do, Hak? Let them recruit me, get inside their operation, and then burn it to the ground. Destiny was silent for a long moment, then a smile spread across her face. Damn, Grandma, you really are a badass. Can I trust you? With my life. Good, because I'm going to need eyes and ears inside this block. Someone who can move without attracting attention. Someone Venom's people wouldn't suspect. That's me. I'm nobody important. Just another young prisoner waiting for parole. Loretta reached out and clasped Destiny's hand. Not anymore. From now on, you're my intelligence asset. But Destiny, you need to understand something. If things go wrong, they could kill both of us. Things already went wrong when they killed Shay. I'm just glad someone's finally going to do something about it. The alliance was sealed in that moment. Two women bound by loss, by anger, by the desperate need to matter in a world that had thrown them away. Tomorrow, the real work would begin. 1 week later, the recruitment started. Loretta was in the cafeteria eating alone as always when Razor approached her table. But this time, there were no threats. No violence. Just a simple message. Venom wants to see you tonight after lights out. Where? Laundry room, come alone. Razor walked away without waiting for a response. The message was clear this wasn't a request. That night, Loretta told Destiny where she was going. I should come with you. No. If this goes wrong, someone needs to get word to Morrison. He'll know what to do. What if it's a trap? Then it's a trap I need to walk into. This is how we get inside their operation. Be careful, Loretta, please. I'm always careful, just not always safe. At 11:45, Loretta slipped out of her cell and made her way through the darkened corridors. The prison at night was a different world. Shadows moved in ways they shouldn't. Sounds echoed from directions that seemed impossible. Every step felt like walking deeper into enemy territory. The laundry room was lit by a single emergency light. Venom sat on a folding table, legs crossed, surrounded by 6 of her most trusted lieutenants. Ms. Washington, thank you for coming. Did I have a choice? Everyone has choices. You made yours when you walked through that door. Loretta stopped 10 feet away, positioning herself with a clear path to the exit. Old habits. What do you want? Venom smiled. Straight to business, I respect that. She hopped off the table and walked closer. I've been thinking about you since our last conversation. About what you are. About what you could be. And what am I? Someone valuable. Someone with training I can use. Someone who's desperate enough to do things that good people wouldn't do. I'm not desperate. No, your daughter's medical bills are over $400,000. The embezzlement only covered $340. She still needs ongoing treatment. How are you planning to pay for that from inside a prison cell? The words landed like blows. Venom had done her homework. What are you offering? A job. When you get out, you come work for my brother. Security enforcement, whatever he needs. The pay is better than anything you'll find legally, and your daughter's medical expenses will be covered, permanently. And if I say no, then we have a problem. Venom stepped even closer, lowering her voice. See, I can't have someone with your skills walking around my house without knowing where your loyalties lie. Too dangerous. So either you're with us, or you're a threat that needs to be eliminated. The threat hung in the air between them. I need time to think about it. You have 24 hours. After that, I need an answer. Loretta nodded slowly. One question. Go ahead. Why me? Your brother must have access to plenty of ex-military people. Why go through all this trouble for one middle-aged woman in a Georgia prison? Venom's smile widened. Because you're special, Ms. Washington. That beating Razor gave you, any normal person would have broken. Would have fought back or begged for mercy. You did neither. You controlled every muscle in your body while they were breaking your ribs. That's not just training. That's elite training. The kind my brother pays very good money for. How do you know I won't betray you the first chance I get? Because of your daughter. Maya isn't at 16 years old, autoimmune disease, currently receiving treatment at Grady Memorial in Atlanta. Venom's voice dropped to barely a whisper. My brother has people everywhere, Loretta. Everywhere. If you betray us, we don't come after you. We come after her, and it won't be quick. Cold fury flooded through Loretta's veins. Every instinct screamed at her to end this conversation with violence, to break Venom's neck and fight her way out of this room and this prison and this nightmare. But that wouldn't protect Maya. Only completing the mission would protect Maya. 24 hours, Loretta said, keeping her voice steady through sheer force of will. I'll have your answer. She turned and walked out of the laundry room, feeling 6 pairs of eyes burning into her back with every step. Back in the cell, Destiny was waiting. What happened? They want to recruit me, work for Marcus when I get out. In exchange, they'll cover Maya's medical expenses. That's good, right? That means you're in... They threatened my daughter, said if I betray them, they'll hurt her. Destiny's face went pale. Oh God. It's a standard tactic. Make the asset compliant through leverage, but they made a mistake. What mistake? Loretta's eyes hardened into something Destiny had never seen before. Something cold and ancient and terrifying. They threatened my child. Nobody threatens my child and walks away. The next morning, Loretta found Officer Morrison during breakfast and passed him a folded note under the table. 3 words. Meeting tonight? Laundry. Morrison gave an almost imperceptible nod and moved on. That afternoon, Loretta received a message through the prison's informal communication network. Margaret, the old woman who had seen through her disguise on day 4, wanted to talk. They met in the yard during recreation. I heard Venom approached you, Margaret said without preamble. Word travels fast in here. Everyone knows everything. Not everything, just the important things. Margaret settled onto a concrete bench with a grunt of discomfort. I also heard you're considering her offer. Are you here to warn me off? I'm here to give you information. What you do with it is your business. What information? Margaret was silent for a moment, watching the other inmates move through their routines. Venom's been running this block for 6 years. In that time, she's recruited over 40 women for her brother's organization. Some went willingly, others didn't have a choice. What happened to them? The ones who stayed loyal got money protection, a place in Marcus's empire. The ones who tried to leave... Margaret shook her head slowly. There was a woman named Deborah, former Army intelligence. Smart, capable, exactly what Marcus was looking for. She worked for him for 2 years. Then she tried to get out. Wanted to start a new life. What happened to her? They found pieces of her in a dumpster behind an Atlanta gas station, took dental records to identify the body. Loretta absorbed this information without visible reaction. Why are you telling me this? Because I've been watching you since you arrived, and I think you're something different than what you pretend to be. Something that might actually be able to hurt them. What makes you think that... Margaret turned to look at her directly. 22 years I've been in this place. I've seen hundreds of women come and go. Killers, thieves, addicts, survivors. I know what dangerous looks like, and you, Loretta Washington, are the most dangerous person I've ever met. You're imagining things. Am I? Then why did 3 of Venom's best fighters end up in the infirmary with injuries they can't explain? Injuries that look like they were made by someone with advanced combat training. Loretta's blood ran cold. What are you talking about? 2 nights ago, after your meeting with Venom, 3 of her lieutenants were found unconscious in the corridor near the laundry room. Broken bones, dislocated joints, one with a concussion so severe she still can't remember her own name. I was in my cell. I'm sure you were. Margaret smiled, but there was no humor in it. Guard records say you never left, but guard records can be altered, especially when the guard in question is a former Special Forces soldier with his own agenda. Morrison. He had been covering for her. What do you want, Margaret? Nothing. I just wanted you to know that you're not as invisible as you think, and if an old prison nurse can see through your cover, others might too. She stood up slowly and started to walk away. One more thing, she said without turning around. Venom's birthday is in 3 days. She's planning a celebration. All her top people will be there. That might be important to someone who's planning something. She disappeared into the crowd of inmates, leaving Loretta alone with dangerous possibilities. That night, Loretta gave Venom her answer. The laundry room meeting was shorter this time. No lieutenants, just Venom and Loretta face to face. I'm in. Venom nodded, satisfaction flickering across her face. Smart choice. But I have conditions. You're not really in a position to make demands. Then consider them requests. First, I want weekly confirmation that my daughter is safe and receiving treatment. Photos, medical updates, proof of life. Reasonable. What else? I want to know what I'm signing up for, not vague promises. Specific details about what Marcus expects from me. Venom studied her for a long moment. Marcus runs a multi-state operation. Security enforcement logistics. Women with your background usually start in protection detail guarding high-value shipments, ensuring deliveries go smoothly. What kind of shipments? Does it matter? I don't do drugs, I don't hurt kids, those are my lines. Venom's expression shifted slightly. Everyone has lines when they start. Most people find those lines move when enough money is involved. Mine won't. We'll see. Venom extended her hand. Welcome to the family, Ms. Washington. I think you're going to fit in just fine. Loretta shook the hand, feeling the weight of the deal settling around her like chains. When do I meet Marcus? Soon. He's very eager to meet the Marine who survived Razor's hospitality. Until then, consider yourself under my protection. No one touches you without my permission. And in return, you do what I say when I say it. Starting now, there's a woman in cell block B who owes me money. She's been avoiding payment for 3 weeks. I want you to persuade her that avoiding me is a bad idea. Loretta's stomach tightened. How much persuasion? Enough to send a message. Not enough to put her in the infirmary. Can you handle that? I can handle anything. Good. Her name is Teresa Mendez, cell B47. Make sure she understands the consequences of disrespecting me. Loretta nodded and left the laundry room feeling like she had just sold a piece of her soul. But that was the price of the mission. That was always the price. 2 hours later, she stood outside cell B47. Teresa Mendez was small, frightened, maybe 30 years old. Drug charges based on the track marks visible on her arms. The kind of woman who had made bad choices for understandable reasons. Just like Loretta. I'm not here to hurt you, Loretta said quietly, stepping into the cell. But I need you to listen very carefully. Teresa pressed herself against the wall. Please, I know I owe Venom money. I'm trying to get it. My family, they're sending commissary credits, but it takes time. How much do you owe? $50. I had to buy medicine for my cellmate. She was going through withdrawal and the infirmary wouldn't help, and I couldn't just watch her suffer. Loretta felt something crack in her chest. Another woman trapped by compassion caught in a system designed to crush anyone with a heart. I'm going to tell Venom that I delivered her message, that you're terrified and you'll have the money by next week. Can you make that happen? Teresa's eyes widened with confusion. You're not going to hurt me. No, but you need to understand something. If you don't pay, someone else will come. Someone who will hurt you. So get that money, Teresa, whatever it takes. Why are you helping me? Loretta thought about all the women Marcus Carter had trafficked, all the mothers who had lost daughters, all the daughters who had lost mothers. Because someone has to. She left the cell and walked away knowing she had just complicated the mission in ways that could get her killed. But some lines really didn't move. No matter how much money was involved, the report to Venom was simple. Message delivered, target appropriately intimidated. Payment expected within 1 week. Venom accepted it without question. Good work. See, I knew you'd be valuable. Marcus is going to love you. When do I meet him? My birthday party, 3 days. He's coming to visit. Very rare for him to enter a prison, but he wants to see you for himself. I'm honored. You should be. Marcus doesn't meet with just anyone. The fact that he's making an exception for you means you've impressed him already. Loretta filed this information away. 3 days. Marcus Carter would be inside Thornwood in 3 days. If she could get close enough, if she could document his presence, his connections, his contacts among the guards and staff, it could blow the entire investigation wide open, but it could also get her killed if anything went wrong. She needed to talk to Holloway. Tonight. The secure communication came through Morrison at 2 in the morning. Marcus is visiting in 3 days, Venom's birthday. We know. We've been monitoring prison communications. This is the first time he's visited in 8 months. Holloway's voice crackled through the encrypted device. This is a major opportunity. I can get close to him, maybe even get him talking. Too risky. He'll be surrounded by security. One wrong move and you're dead. Then what do you want me to do? Observe, document. Look for his contacts among the staff. We need to know who's on his payroll inside Thornwood. And if I get a chance to do more, Holloway was silent for a long moment. Use your judgment, Sergeant Major. You've been running operations longer than most of my agents have been alive. If you see an opportunity, take it. But don't take unnecessary risks. You're no good to us dead. Understood. How's your cover holding? Solid so far. Venom thinks she's recruiting a desperate ex-soldier. She doesn't suspect I'm anything more. Good. Keep it that way. And Loretta? Yeah? Your daughter's latest test results came back. The treatment is working. Her doctors say she could be in remission within 6 months. The words hit Loretta like a wave of warm water. Maya was getting better. Her baby girl was going to survive. Thank you for telling me. Thank me when this is over. Holloway out. The line went dead and Loretta sat in the darkness of her cell, tears streaming silently down her face. Everything she had sacrificed, everything she had lost, Every line she had crossed and would cross. It was worth it. Maya was going to live, and Marcus Carter was going to pay. The morning of Venom's birthday, Loretta woke to the sound of Destiny whispering urgently in her ear. "Something's happening. Guards have been moving through the block since 4 a.m. They're clearing out sections, checking cells. I've never seen anything like this." Loretta sat up slowly, her ribs still aching from the beating 2 weeks earlier. "It's Marcus. They're preparing for his arrival. The brother, he's actually coming here today for the party." Destiny's face went pale. "Loretta, that's insane. A crime boss walking into a federal prison, how is that even possible? Money, connections, corrupt officials who look the other way." Loretta swung her legs off the bunk. "This is what we've been waiting for. I need you to watch everything today. Every guard who interacts with Venom's people, every door that opens when it shouldn't, every face you don't recognize. What are you going to do? Get close to Marcus Carter, find out what he's really planning. And if he figures out what you are," Loretta met Destiny's eyes with the cold certainty of someone who had faced death more times than she could count. "Then I'll handle it." 8:45 a.m. The prison buzzed with tension. Loretta noticed it immediately during breakfast. Guards who normally patrolled with bored indifference were now alert, positioning themselves at key points throughout the facility. The inmates sensed it too. Conversations were quieter. Movements more careful. Everyone knew something significant was happening, even if they didn't know exactly what. Razor found her in the food line. "Venom wants you showered and dressed by 11. Clean uniform. Hair fixed. You're being presented to Marcus today." "Presented? Like a gift. You're her prize recruit. She wants to show you off." The thought made Loretta's skin crawl, but she kept her expression neutral. "Where?" "Visitors' hall. Marcus has a scheduled legal consultation with an attorney. That's his cover for being here. But the real meeting happens in the private conference room. Only Venom's inner circle gets access." "Am I inner circle now?" Razor's smile was thin and cold. "You're whatever Venom says you are. Don't forget that." 10:30 a.m. Loretta stood in front of the small metal mirror in her cell, examining her reflection. 47 years old. 280 pounds. Gray streaking through braids that she had carefully redone that morning. The face that stared back at her belonged to a tired woman who had made bad choices. Nothing threatening. Nothing special. Exactly what she needed them to see. "You look different," Destiny said from her bunk. "Harder, like you're getting ready for battle?" "I am getting ready for battle, just not the kind anyone expects." "What do you need me to do while you're in there?" "Find Margaret. Tell her what's happening. She's been here longer than anyone. She might know things about Marcus's previous visits that could help us." "And if something goes wrong," Loretta turned to face her cellmate, "if I'm not back by dinner, tell Morrison. He'll know what to do." "Loretta? I know. Be careful. Stay safe. All the things people say before they walk into danger." She managed a small smile. "But I've been walking into danger my whole adult life. This isn't any different." "It feels different." "That's because you care about me now. That's the hardest part of this work. Letting people care about you when you might not come back." Destiny stood up and hugged her fiercely. "You come back. You hear me. You come back to your daughter, and you come back to me. I will. I promise." 11:15 a.m. The conference room. Venom had transformed the usually sterile space into something resembling a celebration. Contraband food covered a folding table. Music played softly from a hidden speaker. Her top lieutenants lined the walls dressed in their cleanest uniforms, standing at attention like soldiers awaiting inspection. Loretta counted 12 women. Razor, of course. 3 others she recognized from the beating. 8 more she had seen around the block, but never interacted with directly. 13 members of the Black Mambas plus Venom herself. And then the door opened. Marcus Carter walked in like he owned the building, because in many ways he did. He was smaller than Loretta expected, maybe 5'8" lean with close-cropped hair going gray at the temples. His suit cost more than most inmates saw in a lifetime. His eyes swept the room with the cold calculation of a predator assessing prey. Behind him came 3 men who were obviously bodyguards, big silent professional, former military based on how they moved, probably private security now. "Baby sister?" Marcus's voice was warm as he embraced Venom. "Happy birthday." "Thank you for coming, Marcus. I know it's a risk." "Family is worth any risk. Besides," he smiled, glancing around the room, "I wanted to see what you've been building in here. I'm impressed." "Wait until you meet my new acquisition." Venom turned and gestured toward Loretta. "Marcus, this is the woman I told you about. Loretta Washington. Former military, though she won't say which branch. Survived one of Razor's special welcomes without fighting back. Very disciplined. Very controlled. Marcus walked toward Loretta, slowly studying her the way a buyer examines merchandise. Ms. Washington, my sister speaks highly of you. That's rare. I'm just trying to survive, Mr. Carter. We're all just trying to survive. The question is what we're willing to do to make that happen. He stopped directly in front of her, close enough that she could smell his cologne. Expensive. Subtle. Venom tells me you have a daughter. Maya isn't it, sick girl. Expensive treatments. Yes, sir. Terrible thing watching your child suffer. A parent would do anything to prevent that suffering. Anything at all. Yes, sir, they would. Marcus smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. I think we're going to get along very well, Ms. Washington. Very well indeed. He turned back to Venom. She's exactly what you described. I want her in Atlanta as soon as she's released. Start training her now. Get her ready for field work. Already planned. She's been handling small assignments. Nothing too demanding yet, but she's proven reliable. Good. Now let's celebrate. I don't get to see my sister nearly often enough. The party continued for 2 hours. Loretta stayed quiet, observing, cataloging every detail. She watched Marcus interact with his bodyguards, noting the deference they showed him, the subtle hand signals they used for communication. Private military contractors, she decided. Probably ex-special forces based on their bearing. She watched him speak with 2 guards who entered the conference room briefly. Money changed hands. The guards left without making eye contact with anyone. She watched him take a phone call, stepping into the corner, speaking in Spanish, too rapid and quiet for her to follow. His expression darkened during the conversation. Something was wrong somewhere in his operation, and she watched him watch her. Because Marcus Carter wasn't stupid, he was studying her as carefully as she was studying him. 1:30 p.m. Marcus approached her again. Walk with me, Ms. Washington. It wasn't a request. His bodyguards fell into position as they left the conference room and walked down a corridor that should have been heavily guarded. It was empty. Every camera they passed had been turned away. You're not what you appear to be, Marcus said quietly. Loretta's heart rate spiked, but she kept her voice steady. I'm exactly what I appear to be, a desperate mother who made bad choices. The desperation is real. I believe that. But the rest? He shook his head. My sister thinks you're former military, National Guard maybe, or Army Reserve, something that would explain the discipline without suggesting any real threat. She's right. She's wrong. Marcus stopped walking and turned to face her. I've spent 30 years in this business. I know what dangerous looks like. I know what trained looks like. And you, Ms. Washington, are something far more than weekend warrior. The corridor suddenly felt very small. The bodyguards had positioned themselves to block any escape. What do you think I am? I think you're exactly what I've been looking for. Someone with elite training who's fallen through the cracks of the system. Someone with skills that could be worth millions in the right circumstances. He smiled coldly. The question is whether you're going to be honest with me about your background, or whether you're going to keep playing this game. What game? The game where you pretend to be less than you are, where you hide your capabilities behind fat and fear and desperation. He stepped closer. I've seen your type before. Special operations soldiers who burn out, can't adjust to civilian life, end up making desperate choices. They're my best recruits, because they know things that regular criminals could never learn. Loretta faced a choice in that moment. Continue the deception and risk him discovering the truth, or reveal enough to make the recruitment believable while protecting her actual mission. She chose revelation. Marine Raiders, 18 years, retired in 2006. Marcus's eyes lit up with something between satisfaction and hunger. Now we're getting somewhere. What was your specialty? Close quarters combat, infiltration, asset protection. Kill count declassified. He laughed. I like you, Ms. Washington. I like you very much. My sister found herself a real prize this time. I'm not a prize. I'm a mother who needs money for her daughter's treatment. And you'll get it, all of it. But first, you're going to prove your value. He gestured to one of his bodyguards, who handed him a manila folder. There's a shipment coming through Atlanta next month. High-value cargo. I need it protected from pickup to delivery. No failures, no complications. What kind of cargo? Marcus's expression didn't change. The kind that doesn't ask questions and doesn't need to know what's in the boxes. Can you handle that? Every instinct screamed at Loretta to refuse. High-value cargo meant drugs or guns or people. Probably people given what Holloway had told her about his trafficking operation, but refusing meant ending the mission, ending the chance to bring him down. I can handle it. Good. When you're released, you'll report to an address in Atlanta. My people will take it from there. He handed her the folder. Everything you need to know is in here. Memorize it, then destroy it. Understood. One more thing, Ms. Washington. His voice dropped to barely a whisper. I reward loyalty generously, but I punish betrayal without mercy. If you ever even think about turning against me, remember what I can do to your daughter, not just kill her. I can make her suffer in ways that would break your mind to imagine. Are we clear? The threat wrapped around Loretta's heart like barbed wire. Every fiber of her being wanted to end this man right here, right now. Her hands could crush his windpipe before the bodyguards could react. She had done it before to worse men in worse places. But Maya. Maya was the only thing that mattered. Crystal clear, Mr. Carter. Excellent. Welcome to the family? He walked away, his bodyguards following like shadows. Loretta stood alone in the empty corridor, holding a folder full of evidence and a heart full of cold fury. 3:45 p. The conference room again. Venom was glowing with pride as the party wound down. Marcus likes you. That's rare. Most people he meets, he tolerates. You, he actually likes. I'm flattered. You should be. It means your future is secured. As long as you stay loyal, you'll never have to worry about money again. Your daughter will have the best care available. And if I don't stay loyal, Venom's smile flickered. Don't be stupid, Loretta. You've seen how Marcus operates. You know what happens to people who betray him. There's no escape from his reach. No witness protection that can hide you. No country far enough away. I'm not planning to betray anyone. Good. Then we don't have a problem. Venom stood up and stretched. The party's over. Marcus is leaving in 20 minutes. Go back to your cell and study that folder. We'll talk more tomorrow. Loretta nodded and left, feeling Venom's eyes on her back until she turned the corner. 4:15 p.m., the corridor near her cell block. Loretta was almost back when Margaret stepped out of a doorway. We need to talk, now. This isn't a good time. It's the only time. I know what's in that folder you're carrying. Loretta stopped. How could you possibly know that? Because I've seen folders like that before. 12 years ago, Marcus gave my cellmate the same kind of assignment. Protection detail for high-value cargo. What happened to her? Margaret's face aged 10 years in an instant. She found out what she was protecting. Women, girls, some as young as 12, being transported from the Mexican border to buyers across the southeast. My God. She couldn't do it. Tried to help 3 of the girls escape during the transfer. Marcus's people killed her for it, shot her in the head, and dumped her body in the Chattahoochee River. Why are you telling me this? Because I see the same look in your eyes that Elena had. The look of someone who thinks they can make a difference, who thinks they can bring him down from the inside. Margaret gripped Loretta's arm with surprising strength. You can't. Elena tried. Others have tried. They all ended up dead. Then what am I supposed to do? Just let it happen. You're supposed to survive. Get out of here in 8 years. Go back to your daughter. Live the rest of your life knowing that some evils are too big to fight. Loretta pulled her arm free. I can't do that. I won't do that. Then you'll die, just like Elena, just like all the others who thought they could be heroes. Maybe, but at least I'll die trying to stop him. That's more than most people can say. Margaret stared at her for a long moment, something shifting in her eyes. You really are what I thought you were. Something different, something dangerous. I'm a mother. That's the most dangerous thing on earth. Margaret nodded slowly. Elena was a mother too, had a son in foster care. He's 18 now. Never knew what happened to her. What was her full name? It's Elena Vasquez, Staff Sergeant Army Military Police. She deserved better than what she got. I'll remember her. Remember her by surviving. That's all any of us can do. Margaret disappeared. Her back into the shadows, leaving Loretta alone with the weight of 12 years of tragedy. 5:30 p.m., Cell Block D. Destiny was waiting when Loretta returned. You're back. Thank God. What happened? Tell me everything. Loretta sat on her bunk and opened the folder Marcus had given her. Inside were addresses, schedules, photographs of locations. A burner phone number. I met the devil himself. That bad or worse. He knows I'm more than what I appear. He figured it out within an hour of meeting me. Does he know you're working with the feds? No, he thinks I'm a burned-out special operator looking for money, which is exactly what I wanted him to think. So the cover's still intact. for now, but Destiny, what he's asking me to do. Loretta closed her eyes, feeling the weight of the mission pressing down on her. It's trafficking. Human trafficking. He wants me to guard a shipment of people being moved through Atlanta. Destiny's face went gray. People like slaves. Like cargo. Women. Girls being sold to the highest bidder. Oh my God, Loretta, you can't do that. You can't be part of something like that. I know, but if I refuse, the mission's over, and more women will suffer because I couldn't stomach what needed to be done. What are you going to do? Loretta opened her eyes and looked at the folder in her hands. Evidence. Real, tangible evidence of Marcus Carter's operation. I'm going to protect those women, just not in the way Marcus expects. 6:15 p.m. Emergency communication with Holloway. Morrison had arranged the contact within 30 minutes of Loretta's urgent request. She sat in the same private room speaking into the encrypted device. Marcus Carter was here today. I have documents, addresses, schedules, photographs. He's planning a human trafficking operation next month. Women being moved through Atlanta. Holloway's voice was sharp with intensity. This is exactly what we needed. Can you get those documents to Morrison? Already done. He's photographing them now. Good. What else? Marcus knows I'm former military. I told him Marine Raiders to explain my discipline and training. He bought it. That's a risk? Calculated risk. If I kept denying it, he would have dug deeper. Better to give him something believable than let him discover the truth. Agreed. What's your read on him? Loretta considered the question carefully. Smart, ruthless, completely without conscience. He threatened Maya directly, said he could make her suffer in ways that would break my mind. Standard intimidation tactic. It wasn't standard. He meant every word. This isn't a man who makes empty threats, Holloway. He's the real thing, a genuine monster. All the more reason to bring him down. What do you need from us? Protection for Maya, real protection, not just paperwork and protocols. I need people watching her around the clock. Spamil. Done. I'll have agents assigned to her hospital room within 24 hours. And I need more intelligence on the trafficking operation. Routes, buyers, any previous shipments you know about. If I'm going to disrupt this from the inside, I need to understand how it works. I'll send everything we have through Morrison, but Loretta, I have to ask, are you still committed to this, what you're being asked to do? It crosses lines that most operators wouldn't touch. I'm not crossing any lines. I'm going to protect those women. I'm going to help them escape. And then I'm going to burn Marcus Carter's operation to the ground. That's not the mission. The mission is intelligence gathering. The mission just changed. Are you going to help me or not? Silence on the line. Then, what do you need? 7:45 p.m. Back in the cell. Loretta had memorized every detail in the folder. The pickup location, a warehouse on the outskirts of Atlanta. The delivery point, a private estate in South Carolina. The timeline 3 days from start to finish. The number of women expected 18 to 24. 24 human beings being bought and sold like cattle. She had burned the folder in the maintenance room, watching the evidence turn to ash while her resolve turned to steel. Destiny watched her from across the cell. You've got that look again. What look? The one that says you're planning something that might get you killed. I'm planning something that might get a lot of people killed. The question is, which people? Loretta, I know you want to save those women, but you can't take on Marcus Carter's entire operation by yourself. I won't be by myself. Holloway's working on support. Morrison is coordinating with federal assets, and I have you. What can I do? I'm just a prisoner. You're my eyes and ears in this block. When I'm released for that operation, I need to know what's happening back here. Whether Venom suspects anything, whether word gets back to Marcus. You think someone's going to betray you? I think in an organization like this, betrayal is a survival strategy. Everyone is looking out for themselves. Everyone has their own agenda. Not everyone. Destiny sat down on her bunk facing Loretta directly. I'm not looking out for myself. I'm looking out for you, for us, for whatever this thing is we're building together. Destiny. No, listen. You're the first person in this whole place who treated me like I mattered, like I was more than just another inmate doing time. You trusted me with your secrets. You believed I could help. You have helped. Then let me keep helping. Whatever you're planning, whatever you need, I'm in, all the way. Loretta felt something shift in her chest. 18 years of military service had taught her to work alone, to trust no one, to rely only on herself. But this young woman, this damaged, determined, beautiful young woman, had somehow slipped past every defense she had built. If things go wrong, you could die. If things go wrong, we could all die. At least this way my death would mean something. Don't talk about death like it's nothing. I'm not. I'm talking about it like it's real, like it's always been real for people like us. Destiny's eyes glistened. My mama died without me. Elena Vasquez died trying to do the right thing. Those women Marcus is trafficking, some of them are going to die too unless someone stops him. I know. So let me help you stop him. Let me be part of something bigger than my own survival. Please. Loretta made her decision. Okay, you're in. But you follow my lead, you do exactly what I say, and if I tell you to run, you run. No questions, no hesitation. Deal. And Destiny, if I don't make it back from that operation, I need you to do something for me. Anything. Find my daughter. Tell her I love her. Tell her everything I did for her. Tell her I'm sorry I wasn't there to see her grow up. Destiny wiped tears from her eyes. You're going to tell her yourself. When this is over, you're going to walk out of here and hug your daughter and tell her everything. Maybe, but just in case. Just in case, I promise. The lights went out, signaling the end of another day in Thornwood. But for Loretta, a new mission had just begun. In 30 days, she would either save 24 women from a fate worse than death, or she would join Elena Vasquez in whatever grave awaited those who dared to challenge Marcus Carter's empire. Either way, she was done hiding. Sergeant Major Loretta Tank Washington was going back to war. 29 days passed like water through clenched fists. Loretta trained in secret rebuilding strength she had let atrophy during her first weeks at Thornwood. Early morning exercises in her cell. Combat drills disguised as stretching. Muscle memory awakening from 18 years of elite conditioning. Destiny watched. Learned. Said nothing to anyone. And then the day arrived. 6:15 a.m. Day of the operation. Morrison appeared at her cell with transfer paperwork. Washington, you're being moved to work release for a special assignment. Warden's orders. Venom had arranged everything. Fake documentation, corrupt officials, a system designed to make prisoners disappear for days at a time without raising suspicion. Loretta stood and faced Destiny one last time. Remember what I told you. I remember everything. Destiny's voice was steady, but her eyes were wet. You come back, Loretta. You hear me? You come back. I'll try. Don't try. Do it. I need you to do it. Loretta squeezed her hand, then turned and followed Morrison out of the cell block. The walk through Thornwood felt different this morning. Every corridor carried weight. Every face she passed might be the last friendly face she ever saw. The prison that had been her cage for 6 weeks was now the only safe place in a world about to become very dangerous. Morrison led her to a loading dock where a black SUV waited with tinted windows. Federal assets are positioned along the route, he said quietly. Holloway has eyes on the warehouse. When you give the signal, they move. What's my extraction plan? There isn't one. If things go sideways, you're on your own until federal backup arrives. How long? Minimum 15 minutes. Maximum 45. Loretta absorbed this. 45 minutes alone against Marcus Carter's operation. An eternity in combat time. And Maya? 2 agents have been with her around the clock for 3 weeks. She's safe, I promise. Thank you, Morrison, for everything. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when this is over. He opened the SUV door. Good luck, Sergeant Major. Marines don't believe in luck. Then good hunting. She climbed into the vehicle. The door closed. The SUV pulled away from Thornwood, carrying her toward whatever fate awaited. 8:30 a.m., Atlanta outskirts. The warehouse looked exactly like the photographs. Industrial. Isolated. Perfect for activities that couldn't survive public scrutiny. 2 men waited outside. Marcus's security. They checked her credentials, patted her down for weapons, and led her inside without a word. The interior was divided into sections. Office space in front, storage in back, and somewhere deeper the cargo she had been sent to protect. A woman approached. Mid-30s hard-eye military bearing. Former operator Loretta assessed immediately. Probably Army or Marines. You're Washington, Charles. That's me. I'm Reyes, lead security for this operation. Marcus says you're special forces. That true? Raiders, 18 years. Reyes studied her with the practiced assessment of someone who had evaluated threats for a living. You don't look like a raider. What do raiders look like? Younger, fitter, not carrying an extra 100 pounds of dead weight. Appearances can be deceiving. They better be, because what we're doing today requires precision, no mistakes, no complications. You understand? I understand. Good. The cargo arrives in 2 hours. Your job is perimeter security. Watch the access roads. Report anything unusual. Don't engage unless absolutely necessary. What's the cargo? Reyes's expression flickered, just for a moment. Something that might have been shame in another lifetime. You know what the cargo is. Don't pretend otherwise. I want to hear you say it. Why? Because I need to know what kind of operation I'm part of. Reyes stepped closer, lowering her voice. 22 women. Ages range from 16 to 34. Being transported from a holding facility near the border to buyers in South Carolina. Satisfied, Loretta's stomach turned, but she kept her face neutral. And the buyers, rich men who pay premium prices for young flesh. Politicians, businessmen, foreign nationals. The kind of people who can make problems disappear. Reyes's voice hardened. You have a problem with that, Washington, too. I have a problem with everything, but I need the money. Then do your job and keep your mouth shut. That's how you survive in this organization. That's how we all survive. Reyes walked away, leaving Loretta with the weight of 22 lives pressing against her conscience. 9:45 a.m., perimeter position. Loretta stood at her assigned post watching the access road while her mind raced through contingencies. 22 women, 16 of them potentially underage, being sold to monsters who would use them until they were broken, then discard them like garbage. Elena Vasquez had tried to save 3 women and died for it. Loretta was going to save 22, or die trying. She activated the communication device hidden in her ear. Holloway, I'm in position. Cargo arrives in approximately 90 minutes. Copy that. Federal assets are staged 3 miles out. What's your assessment? 12 security personnel that I can see, probably more inside. All armed, all trained. This isn't amateur hour. Extraction options. Limited. 1 main entrance, 1 loading dock and back. No windows on the ground floor. If things go wrong, it becomes a kill box. Understood. What's your plan? Wait for the cargo to arrive. Wait for the buyers to show up. Document everything I can. Then when the moment's right, create chaos and get those women out. That's not a plan. That's a suicide mission. Then it's a suicide mission, but I'm not leaving those women to be sold. Holloway was quiet for a long moment. Loretta, I need you to understand something. If you blow this operation before we have the buyers documented, Marcus Carter walks free. We need the whole network, not just the cargo. And if waiting for the buyers means some of those women get hurt, that's the cost of taking down the entire organization. Not to me, not today. Loretta, I'll document what I can, but if any of those women are in immediate danger, I'm moving. That's not negotiable. Another pause, then, understood. Do what you have to do. We'll be ready to move when you give the signal. Copy that. Washington out. She clicked off the device and resumed her watch. 90 minutes. That's how long those women had to wait for salvation. Loretta prayed it would be enough. 11:20 a.m. The cargo arrived. The truck rolled up to the loading dock with the casual efficiency of any legitimate delivery, but there was nothing legitimate about what it carried. Loretta watched from her perimeter position as the back doors opened and women began to emerge. Some walked on their own. Others had to be carried. All of them wore the vacant expressions of people who had surrendered hope. One woman caught her attention, young, maybe 20, with dark hair and eyes that still held a spark of defiance despite everything. She stumbled as a guard shoved her toward the warehouse entrance, then turned and spit in his face. The guard raised his hand to strike her. Don't. The word was out of Loretta's mouth before she could stop it. Everyone froze. Reyes appeared from inside the warehouse, her expression dangerous. Problem, Washington. No problem. Just reminding your man that damaged goods lower the price. The guard lowered his hand, slowly glaring at Loretta with murder in his eyes. The young woman with defiant eyes looked at Loretta for just a moment. Something passed between them. Recognition. Understanding. A silent message that said help is coming. Get them inside, Reyes ordered. Buyers arrive in 3 hours. I want everyone cleaned up and presentable. The women were herded into the warehouse like cattle. Loretta watched them go, counting faces, memorizing details. 22 women, at least 6 who appeared to be teenagers, all of them terrified, all of them waiting for someone to save them. I see you, Loretta thought. I see all of you. And I'm coming. 12:15 p.m., inside the warehouse. Loretta had been reassigned to interior security after her outburst. Reyes wanted her where she could be watched, a tactical mistake that gave Loretta exactly what she needed, access to the cargo. The women were being held in a converted storage area, mattresses on the floor, buckets for toilets, a single water station shared among 22 people. The smell was overwhelming, the despair even worse. Loretta positioned herself near the entrance, ostensibly guarding against escape attempts. In reality, she was documenting, briefing everything. The young woman with defiant eyes approached the water station, then deliberately moved close to where Loretta stood. "You're not like the others." Her voice was barely a whisper. "No. Are you going to help us?" "Yes." "How?" "I can't tell you yet, but when things start happening, I need you to keep the others calm. Can you do that?" "I'll try." "What's your name?" "Carmen Delgado." "Carmen, in about 2 hours, this place is going to become very dangerous. When that happens, I need you to get everyone to the loading dock. There's a door in the back. It leads outside." "And then what?" "Then you run. Federal agents will be waiting." Carmen's eyes widened. "You're a cop." "Something like that. But Carmen, you can't tell anyone. If the guards find out what's coming, people will die. Do you understand?" "I understand." Carmen gripped Loretta's hand briefly. "Thank you. Whatever happens, thank you." "Don't thank me yet. Thank me when you're free." Carmen moved away, returning to the other women with a composure that belied the hope now burning in her heart. Loretta resumed her position and began planning the next phase. 1:45 p.m. The buyers arrived. 3 vehicles. Expensive, anonymous, untraceable. The men who emerged wore suits that cost more than most people earned in a year. Their faces were hidden behind confidence and entitlement, the expressions of those who had never been told no. Marcus Carter arrived with them. Loretta's blood ran cold as she watched him shake hands with the buyers, laughing, joking, as comfortable as any businessman closing a deal. He didn't see the women as human. He saw them as product, as numbers on a balance sheet. "Washington." She turned. Reyes was standing behind her. "Marcus wants to see you. Now." This wasn't part of the plan. Loretta followed Reyes to the office area where Marcus waited with 2 of his bodyguards. His smile was warm, almost fatherly. "Ms. Washington, how are you finding the operation? Smooth? Professional? Your people know what they're doing." "They should. I pay them well." He gestured for her to sit. "I wanted to check in personally. Make sure you're comfortable with what we're doing here." "I'm not comfortable with any of this, but I understand why it's necessary." "Do you... Tell me what you understand." "I understand that these women are going to suffer regardless of what happens today. Whether it's here or somewhere else, men with power will use them and discard them. At least this way, their suffering serves a purpose." "And what purpose is that?" "Money, which I need for my daughter." Marcus studied her for a long moment. "You're very practical, Ms. Washington. I appreciate that. Most people in your position would be drowning in moral outrage, but you've seen enough of the world to know that morality is a luxury." "I've seen things that would break most people. I stopped being shocked a long time ago." "Good. Because I have a special assignment for you today." He leaned forward. "One of the buyers has requested a private viewing, a young woman from the cargo. I want you to escort her to his vehicle and ensure she arrives safely." Loretta's heart stopped. "Which woman?" "The one you defended earlier, Carmen something. He saw the fire in her eyes and decided he wants to break it personally." Everything in Loretta screamed to refuse, to end this conversation with violence, to protect Carmen the way she wished someone had protected her own daughter. But refusing meant blowing her cover, meant alerting Marcus to the trap, meant potentially getting all 22 women killed. Now, he's waiting outside. Loretta stood, forcing her expression to remain neutral. "I'll need to retrieve her from holding." "Of course, Reyes will accompany you." The walk back to the holding area felt like a march to execution. Loretta's mind raced through options. She had maybe 10 minutes before the situation became unrecoverable. 10 minutes to save Carmen and every other woman in this building. She activated her communication device. "Holloway, situation critical. One of the buyers is attempting to take a victim now. I need immediate extraction." "Federal assets are still positioning. We need at least 30 more minutes." "I don't have 30 minutes. I have 10, maybe less." "Loretta, we can't move yet. The entire network." "Forget the network. I'm moving now." "Loretta, don't..." She clicked off the device. Reyes led her to the holding area. Carmen was sitting with a group of younger women, speaking softly, keeping them calm. When she saw Loretta approaching, her face went pale. "You, come with us." "Why?" "Don't ask questions, just move." Carmen stood slowly, her body trembling. The other women watched with hollow eyes as she was led away from the group. The walk toward the loading dock felt like it lasted hours. Loretta positioned herself behind Carmen with Reyes in front, the perfect configuration for what needed to happen next. "Stop," Loretta said. Reyes turned. "What? We need to talk about something." "We don't need to talk about anything. Keep moving." "I'm afraid I can't do that." Before Reyes could react, Loretta moved. The strike was precise, devastating exactly as she had trained for 18 years. Reyes dropped without making a sound, unconscious before she hit the floor. Carmen spun around, eyes wide with shock. What are you doing?" "Saving your life. We have maybe 5 minutes before someone notices Reyes is missing. I need you to help me." "Help you how?" "Go back to the holding area. Get everyone ready to move. When you hear gunfire, take them to the loading dock and run. Don't stop for anything. Federal agents are outside waiting." "What about you?" "I'm going to create a distraction. You're going to get yourself killed." "Probably. But you're going to live. That's what matters." Carmen grabbed her arm. "No, I'm not leaving you to die alone." "Carmen, my mother died trying to protect me when they took us at the border. I couldn't save her, but I can help you. Let me help." Loretta looked into those defiant eyes and saw something that had been missing from her own life for years. Hope. Stubborn, irrational, beautiful hope. "Fine, but you do exactly what I say." "Deal." 2:20 p.m. The reckoning began. Loretta moved through the warehouse with Carmen close behind, avoiding guards, tracking patterns, identifying targets. Her body remembered every combat drill, every infiltration technique, every lesson learned in 18 years of the most dangerous work imaginable. She found the power junction in a maintenance closet. When the lights go out, count to 10, then start screaming, as loud as you can. Draw the guards toward the holding area. "Then what?" "Then I handle the rest." Carmen nodded, understanding settling into her features. "Loretta, whatever happens, thank you for seeing us, for caring enough to fight." "Don't thank me yet." Loretta pulled the main breaker. Darkness swallowed the warehouse. She counted to 3, then moved. The first guard never saw her coming. A strike to the throat, a twist, and he was down. His weapon was in her hands before his body finished falling. Screaming erupted from the direction of the holding area, Carmen's voice joined by others, chaos spreading like wildfire. 2 more guards rushed toward the sound. Loretta let them pass, then followed like a shadow. The next 5 minutes existed outside of normal time. Everything she had trained for, everything she had survived, everything she had lost and sacrificed. It all condensed into this moment. Guard after guard fell, some to the weapon she had taken, others to hand-to-hand combat that would have seemed impossible from a woman her size. The darkness was her ally, her camouflage her weapon. She reached the holding area to find Carmen already organizing the women. "Go, loading dock, now." "What about the guards at the entrance?" "Already handled." Carmen didn't ask how. She just moved, herding the terrified women toward their only chance at freedom. Loretta covered their escape, moving backward, weapon raised, watching for threats. The loading dock door burst open. Federal agents poured in, weapons-drawn voices shouting commands. The buyers who had been waiting outside were already in handcuffs, their expensive suits now covered in dirt and humiliation. "Federal agents, everyone on the ground." Loretta lowered her weapon and raised her hands. "I'm Washington. I'm the inside asset." An agent approached, checking her credentials, confirming her identity. "You were supposed to wait for the signal." "Circumstances changed. You could have been killed." "But I wasn't. And neither were they." She looked at the women streaming out of the warehouse. 22 faces, 22 lives that would continue because she had refused to wait. Carmen found her in the chaos. "You did it. You actually did it. We did it. What happens now? Now you get medical attention, talk to the agents, start rebuilding your life. And you," Loretta looked at the federal agents securing the building, the buyers being loaded into transport vehicles, the organized chaos of a successful operation. "I go back to prison. I still have time to serve." "That's not fair." "Life isn't fair, but you're free. That's what matters." Carmen hugged her fiercely. "I'll never forget you. Never." "Then make it count. Build a life worth living. That's how you honor what happened today." 3:15 p.m., the aftermath. Marcus Carter was arrested trying to flee through a back entrance. Loretta watched as federal agents forced him to the ground, handcuffs clicking into place around wrists that had signed death warrants for countless innocent people. He looked up as she approached. Recognition flickered in his eyes, followed by rage. You're the one who did this." "I'm the one who stopped you." "My people will find your daughter. They'll make her suffer for what you've done." Loretta crouched down to meet his eyes directly. "Your people are in custody. Your network is dismantled. And if anyone ever touches my daughter, I'll break out of whatever prison they put me in, and I'll find them. Then I'll show them exactly what 18 years of Marine Raider training looks like when it's applied to someone who hurt my child." Marcus said nothing. For the first time, fear flickered in his eyes. Loretta stood and walked away. Behind her, agents loaded Marcus Carter into a federal transport vehicle. His empire was finished. His reign of terror was over. And 22 women were free because a fat middle-aged inmate had decided that some things were worth dying for. 4:30 p.m. Debriefing with Holloway. The federal agent looked exhausted but satisfied as she reviewed the operation's results. 22 women recovered, 4 buyers arrested, Marcus Carter in federal custody facing charges that will keep him locked up for multiple lifetimes. 7 of his security personnel dead, 12 more in custody. Venom? Arrested at Thornwood 2 hours ago. She'll be transferred to federal facilities pending trial. And the network. We're still rolling up the pieces, but the core operation is destroyed. It'll take them years to rebuild if they ever can. Holloway set down her tablet and looked at Loretta directly. "You disobeyed direct orders. You compromised the timeline. You engaged without authorization and nearly got yourself killed." "I did what was necessary." "You did what you thought was right. There's a difference." "Not to me. Not when those women's lives were at stake." Holloway was quiet for a moment, then unexpectedly she smiled. "You know what, you're right. The mission parameters were designed for intelligence gathering, not rescue operations. But you turned it into something more. Something better. So what happens now? Now you go back to Thornwood and serve the rest of your sentence. But given your cooperation with federal authorities, I've already started the paperwork for sentence reduction. Good behavior time served assistance to law enforcement. You could be out in 18 months instead of 8 years. The words hit Loretta like a physical blow. 18 months. She could see Maya in 18 months. And my daughter, still under protection until we're certain all threats have been neutralized. But she's doing well. The treatment continues to work. Her doctors are optimistic about full remission. Tears streamed down Loretta's face. She didn't try to stop them. "Thank you for everything. Don't thank me. You did this yourself. You saved those women. You took down one of the most dangerous trafficking networks in the Southeast. You were willing to die for people you had never met." "I was willing to live for them. That's harder." Holloway extended her hand. "It's been an honor working with you, Sergeant Major." Loretta shook it firmly. "The honor was mine." 6 p.m., transport back to Thornwood. The SUV retraced the route from that morning, but everything felt different. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. The weight that had pressed on Loretta's shoulders for weeks had lifted. Morrison was waiting at the loading dock when she arrived. "Heard it went well?" "It went. That's what matters. The whole prison's buzzing. Venom's arrest sent shockwaves through every block. The Black Mambas are finished." "Good. Destiny's been asking about you every hour. She's worried sick." "I'll see her soon." Morrison led her back through the corridors of Thornwood. The prison looked the same, but it felt different now. Less like a cage. More like a way station on the journey back to her daughter. 7:30 p.m. Cell Block D. Destiny was pacing when Loretta walked through the door. She spun around, saw her cellmate standing there, and burst into tears. "You're alive! Oh my God, you're actually alive!" "Told you I'd come back. I thought, when I heard about the arrests, I didn't know if you were one of the casualties or..." Loretta pulled her into a fierce hug. "I'm here. I'm okay. It's over." "Is it really over?" "Marcus is in federal custody. Venom too. The network is destroyed." "And the women, the ones they were trafficking, safe. All 22 of them. Getting medical care, talking to counselors, starting the long road back to normal life." Destiny pulled back, wiping her eyes. "You did that. You saved them." "I did what needed to be done." "You did more than that. You became what they needed you to be." Loretta sat on her bunk, feeling the exhaustion of the past 12 hours settling into her bones. "Holloway says I might be out in 18 months. Sentence reduction for cooperation." 18 months? That's amazing. "It means I'll see Maya sooner than I thought. I'll be there for her recovery." "You'll be there for everything. College, career, marriage, all of it." "I hope so. God, I hope so." Destiny sat across from her, a smile breaking through her tears. "You know what this means, right?" What? It means we only have 18 months left together, so we better make them count. Loretta laughed a sound she hadn't made in what felt like forever. Yeah, I guess we better. The lights went out, signaling the end of another day in Thornwood, but for Loretta it felt like the beginning of something new, a future she had almost given up on, a life waiting to be reclaimed. She closed her eyes and let herself dream about Maya for the first time since the gates had closed behind her. And for the first time in 6 weeks, the dreams were good. 18 months passed faster than Loretta had dared to hope. She marked every day on a calendar destiny had given her. 347 days. 347 mornings waking up in a concrete cell. 347 nights dreaming about holding her daughter again. And then finally the morning arrived. 6 a.m., release day. Loretta stood at the mirror in her cell staring at the woman who stared back. She had lost 60 pounds during her time at Thornwood, not from dieting but from purpose, from training, from becoming someone worth coming home to. Destiny sat on her bunk trying not to cry and failing miserably. I can't believe this is actually happening. Believe it. You're really leaving, after everything we've been through. Loretta turned to face the young woman who had become family. I'm leaving this place, not you, never you. How can you say that you'll be out there living your life and I'll still be stuck in here for another 2 years? 2 years that will pass faster than you think, and when they're done, I'll be waiting outside those gates with a job offer and a place to stay. Destiny's eyes widened. What? I've been talking to Holloway. After everything that happened with the Carter operation, she's been helping me set up something, a nonprofit, helping women transition out of prison, finding jobs, housing support systems. You're serious. Dead serious. And I need someone who understands what these women are going through, someone who's been where they've been, someone like you. Destiny launched herself off the bunk and wrapped Loretta in a hug so fierce it nearly knocked them both over. You're the best thing that ever happened to me in this place. You saved my life, Destiny, multiple times. This is the least I can do. I didn't save your life. I just watched you save everyone else's. That's not true, and you know it. They held each other for a long moment, two women bound by circumstances that should have destroyed them both, but instead of breaking, they had found strength in each other. Promise me something, Destiny whispered. Anything. Hug your daughter twice, once for you and once for me. Loretta felt tears sliding down her cheeks. I promise. 7:30 a.m., processing. The paperwork took forever. Forms to sign, property to collect, final instructions from board administrators who had processed thousands of releases and would process thousands more. Officer Morrison found her in the waiting area. Sergeant Major? Morrison, come to say goodbye? Come to say thank you. What you did 18 months ago changed this place. The Black Mambas never recovered after Venom's arrest. Block D is actually safe now. Women can serve their time without being terrorized. That wasn't just me. That was everyone who helped. It started with you, and it'll continue because of what you built. He extended his hand. It's been an honor serving with you, again. Loretta shook it firmly. Stay safe in here, Morrison. Keep watching out for the ones who can't watch out for themselves. Always. He turned and walked back into the depths of Thornwood, back to the endless work of protecting the vulnerable in a system designed to break them. 8:15 a.m. The gates. Loretta stood at the final checkpoint, her small bag of possessions clutched in her hands. Beyond those gates lay freedom. Beyond those gates lay Maya. The guard checked her paperwork one last time. Washington Loretta, release authorized, you're free to go. Free. The word echoed in her mind as the gates swung open. Free after 6 weeks that had become 18 months. Free after operations that had dismantled criminal empires. Free after sacrifices that had cost her pieces of her soul she would never get back. She stepped through the gates into morning sunlight that felt different on this side of the fence, and there, waiting in the parking lot, was a figure she would have recognized anywhere. Maya. Her daughter stood beside a rental car, thinner than Loretta remembered, but stronger somehow. The illness that had nearly killed her had left marks, but it hadn't broken her. Nothing could break a Washington woman. Mama. The word cracked something open in Loretta's chest. 18 months of walls she had built to survive came crashing down in an instant. Baby girl. She ran. For the first time in her adult life, Sergeant Major Loretta Tank Washington ran towards something instead of away from danger. She ran toward her daughter with everything she had. They collided in the middle of that parking lot, two women who had almost lost each other finding their way back together. "You're here?" Maya sobbed into her mother's shoulder. "You're really here?" "I'm here. I'm never leaving you again." "I was so scared. Every day I was scared something would happen to you in that place. Nothing could keep me from you, nothing in this world." They held each other for minutes that felt like hours, 18 months of separation dissolving in the warmth of reunion. Finally, Maya pulled back, wiping her eyes. "Look at you. You lost so much weight." "Had to get in shape to keep up with my daughter." "Keep up with me, Mama. I'm the one who can barely walk around the block without getting tired." "That's going to change. We're going to get strong together, both of us." Maya smiled, and it was like watching the sun rise after an endless night. "I like the sound of that." 9 a.m., the drive home. Maya insisted on driving, claiming her mother needed to rest after 18 months of prison life. Loretta didn't argue. She was too busy watching her daughter memorizing every detail of the young woman she had almost lost. "The doctors say I'm in full remission," Maya said, keeping her eyes on the road. 3 months now. All my numbers are stable. I know. Holloway kept me updated. She visited me a few times, told me what you did. Not the classified stuff, but enough." "What did she tell you?" Maya was quiet for a moment. "That you saved a lot of people. That you risked your life to take down a trafficking network. That you're some kind of hero." "I'm not a hero. I'm just a mother who did what needed to be done." "That's exactly what a hero would say." They drove in comfortable silence for a while, the Georgia landscape rolling past outside the windows. Loretta found herself thinking about all the women she had saved, wondering where they were now, hoping they had found peace. "Mama." "Yeah, baby." "Why didn't you tell me about what you used to do, about being a Marine Raider?" The question landed like a stone in still water. Loretta had known it would come eventually, had dreaded it and welcomed it in equal measure. "I wanted to protect you from knowing what I was capable of, from understanding the things I had done. But I deserved to know. All those years I thought you were just an accountant. I didn't understand why you were so different from other moms. Different how was stronger, quieter, like you were always watching for something, like you were always ready for danger that never came. Old habits? It's more than that." Maya glanced at her mother briefly. "After Agent Holloway told me about your service, I did some research. Marine Raiders are the most elite special operations force in the Corps. The things they train for, the missions they complete, it's incredible. It was a job, an important job, but still just a job. It was more than that, and you know it. You spent 18 years protecting this country. You saved lives. You made sacrifices that most people can't even imagine." "I also killed people, Maya. That's the part nobody talks about. The nightmares. The faces you can never forget. The weight of taking lives, even when it was necessary." The car was silent for a long moment. "Is that why you never told me?" "Partly, but mostly I just wanted you to have a normal mother. Someone who baked cookies and went to PTA meetings and didn't know 100 different ways to kill someone with her bare hands." "I don't need a normal mother." Maya's voice was fierce. "I need you, the real you, all of you, including the parts that are hard to talk about." Loretta felt tears building behind her eyes. "When did you get so wise?" "Almost dying has a way of clarifying things." 10:30 a.m., home. The apartment was small but clean. Maya had moved them from the old place after Loretta's arrest, wanting a fresh start in a neighborhood without memories. Loretta walked through the room, slowly touching furniture, examining photographs, relearning the feeling of being in a space that wasn't controlled by guards and regulations. "I know it's not much," Maya said apologetically, "but the medical bills ate through most of our savings, and I've only been working part-time while I finish school." "It's perfect." "It's tiny." "It's ours. That makes it perfect." Maya smiled and disappeared into the kitchen. "I made lunch. Your favorite chicken and dumplings. Grandma's recipe." The mention of her mother dead now for 15 years brought a fresh wave of emotion. "You learned to cook." "Had to. Hospital food was terrible, and I needed something to do during all those treatments." Loretta sat at the small kitchen table and watched her daughter move with confidence around the stove. This was the future she had fought for. This moment right here was worth every sacrifice. "Mama, there's something I need to tell you." "What is it?" Maya brought 2 bowls to the table and sat down across from her mother. "I got accepted, full scholarship, pre-med at Emory University." The words didn't register at first. "What?" "Pre-med. I'm going to be a doctor. Specifically, I want to specialize in autoimmune disorders. Help people who went through what I went through. Loretta couldn't speak. The pride swelling in her chest had stolen every word she knew. Say something, Mama. I'm so proud of you. So incredibly, impossibly proud. You're crying. I'm allowed to cry. My baby's going to be a doctor. They ate lunch together, talking and laughing and crying and talking some more. 18 months of separation poured out in stories and confessions and dreams for the future. And for the first time, since the gates of Thornwood had closed behind her, Loretta felt truly free. 2 p.m. The phone call. Loretta was unpacking her meager possessions when her new cell phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Ms. Washington, this is Senator Patricia Coleman's office. The senator would like to speak with you regarding testimony before the Armed Services Committee. Loretta's blood went cold. Senator Coleman. The name was familiar. A powerful voice in Congress known for her work on military affairs and veteran support. Testimony about the Carter operation, about veteran transition challenges, about your recommendations for supporting former service members who struggle to reintegrate into civilian life. I'm a convicted felon. Why would Congress want to hear from me? Because you're also a hero, Ms. Washington. What you did saved 22 lives and dismantled one of the largest trafficking networks in the Southeast. Senator Coleman believes your perspective could help shape policy that prevents other veterans from falling through the cracks the way you did. Loretta sat down heavily on the edge of her bed. 18 months ago, she had been a desperate woman facing 8 years in prison. Now Congress wanted her testimony. When? 3 weeks. We'll arrange transportation and accommodations. Is that acceptable? I'll be there. She ended the call and sat in silence, trying to process what had just happened. Maya appeared in the doorway. Who was that? Was the United States Senate. What? They want me to testify about veteran transition, about what happened with Marcus Carter, about how we can do better for people like me. Maya's face split into a grin. Mama, that's incredible. It's terrifying. It's both. But you've done scarier things, haven't you? I've been shot at in 7 different countries, but speaking to a room full of politicians might be worse. They laughed together, and the sound filled the small apartment with warmth. 1 week later, the nonprofit launch. Loretta stood in front of a small storefront in downtown Atlanta, looking up at the sign that bore the name she had chosen. Second Chances Veteran Support Services. Agent Holloway had helped with the funding, connecting her with federal grants and private donors who believed in the mission. Morrison had spread the word among his law enforcement contacts. Even Margaret, still serving time at Thornwood, had contributed ideas through letters that arrived every week. The ribbon cutting was small, just Loretta Maya, and a handful of supporters who had believed in the vision from the beginning. You ready for this, Maya asked. Not even close. That's the best time to start something new. Loretta cut the ribbon and Second Chances officially opened its doors. Within an hour, the first client walked in. A woman in her 40s, clearly former military, with the haunted eyes of someone who had seen too much and lost too much. I heard this place helps veterans who are struggling. Is that true? That's true. I'm Loretta. What's your name? Angela. Army Nurse Course. 8 years. Now I'm homeless, and I can't remember the last time I slept more than 2 hours. You're not homeless anymore, Angela. Come sit down. Let's figure this out together. As Loretta led the woman to a seat and began the intake process, she caught Maya's eye across the room. Her daughter smiled with pride that needed no words. This was why she had survived. This was why everything had happened the way it had. Not just for Maya, for all the Angelas out there. All the veterans who had served their country and been forgotten. All the women who had fallen through the cracks and needed someone to catch them. 2 weeks later, Washington, D.C. The Senate hearing room was smaller than Loretta had expected, but more intimidating. Rows of chairs faced a raised platform where senators sat behind nameplates that announced their importance. Senator Coleman presided, a sharp-eyed woman in her 60s who had been a military prosecutor before entering politics. Ms. Washington, thank you for joining us today. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge the extraordinary circumstances that bring you here. You're a former Marine Raider with 18 years of distinguished service. You're also a convicted felon who served time for embezzlement, and you're a hero who saved 22 women from a fate worse than death. I'm just a mother senator. Everything else is context. A murmur rippled through the room. Coleman smiled slightly. Let's start with context then. Tell us about your service. Loretta took a breath and began. She spoke for 2 hours. About her years as a raider, about the missions that still haunted her dreams, about the impossible transition from combat operative to civilian accountant, about the desperation that had driven her to embezzle money for her daughter's treatment. She spoke about Thornwood, about Venom and the Black Mambas, about the trafficking operation she had infiltrated and destroyed, and she spoke about second chances, about the vision she had for helping veterans who struggled the way she had, about the systemic failures that left too many service members without support when they needed it most. When she finished, the room was silent. Senator Coleman leaned forward. "Ms. Washington, if you could change one thing about how we support transitioning veterans, what would it be? Stop treating us like problems to be managed. Start treating us like assets to be invested in. Every veteran who comes home has skills that could change the world. Combat experience, leadership, resilience. Instead of warehousing us in bureaucratic systems that crush initiative, put resources into helping us channel what we learned into civilian applications. And for veterans who end up in the criminal justice system, like yourself, don't throw us away. We made mistakes, but we also made sacrifices. There has to be a path back for people who served their country and then stumbled. Not a free pass, but a chance. A real chance to contribute again." The hearing concluded with promises of follow-up meetings and potential legislation. Loretta walked out of the Capitol building feeling like something had shifted in the universe. Maya was waiting outside on the steps. "How did it go?" "I think they actually listened." "Of course they did. You're impossible to ignore." 6 months later, the anniversary. Second chances had grown beyond anything Loretta had imagined. 3 full-time staff members. Partnerships with VA hospitals and employment agencies across Georgia. Over 200 veterans served in half a year. And today, a special visitor. Destiny walked through the doors of the center a free woman for the first time in 4 years. "Told you I'd be here when you got out?" "You did." Destiny looked around the center with wonder in her eyes. "You built all this. Oh, we built it. Everyone who believed in the mission, everyone who contributed, including you. I didn't do anything. I was locked up. You kept me sane. You kept me fighting. That's everything." Destiny's eyes filled with tears. "I don't know how to do this. Be out here. Be normal. Everything feels too big and too fast." "That's why you're here. We're going to figure it out together, starting with your new job." "What job?" "Client intake coordinator. You know what these women are going through better than anyone. That's exactly what they need." Destiny hugged her fiercely. "I don't deserve this." "Yes, you do. We all deserve second chances." 1 year later, the graduation. Maya walked across the stage at Emory University accepting her certificate of completion for the pre-med program. Top of her class, accepted to medical school starting in the fall. Loretta sat in the audience crying without shame as her daughter became everything she had dreamed. Beside her sat Destiny, now the heart of Second Chances operations. On her other side sat Carmen Delgado, the woman with defiant eyes who had helped save 22 lives in that warehouse. Carmen had become an advocate for trafficking survivors, speaking at conferences and working with law enforcement to identify victims. The fire that Marcus Carter had wanted to break had instead become a beacon for others escaping the darkness. After the ceremony, Maya found them in the crowd. "I couldn't have done this without all of you." "You did the hard work," Loretta said. "We just cheered." "No, Mama. You taught me what strength really looks like. Not the ability to hurt people, but the willingness to sacrifice everything for the ones you love." She pulled something from her pocket and pressed it into Loretta's hand, a small medal. "St. Michael Patron Saint of Military and Law Enforcement. Grandma gave this to me before she died. She said to give it to someone who protected the innocent. I can't think of anyone more deserving than you." Loretta clutched the medal, feeling the weight of generations passing through her fingers. "I love you, baby girl." "I love you too, Mama, forever." 5 years later, the dedication. Second Chances had become a national model. 15 locations across the country. Thousands of veterans served. Countless lives rebuilt. Today, they were dedicating a new wing at the Atlanta headquarters. A space specifically designed for veterans with families, allowing mothers and fathers to get support without being separated from their children. The wing was named after someone special, Elena Vasquez. Margaret had died 3 years ago, peacefully in her sleep at Thornwood after 25 years of incarceration. But before she passed, she had told Loretta everything she knew about Elena, the Army medic who had tried to save 3 women and paid with her life. Elena's son, now 28, stood at the dedication ceremony with tears in his eyes. "For most of my life, I didn't know what happened to my mother. They told me she died in an accident, a lie that protected the guilty and erased the truth." He looked at Loretta. "This woman gave me answers. She told me my mother was a hero, that she died trying to save innocent people from monsters, that her sacrifice mattered even if the world never knew. Today the world knows. And this building will stand as a reminder that some battles are worth fighting even when you can't win. Especially when you can't win. Loretta stepped forward and embraced him. Your mother would be proud of you. I hope so. I hope she's watching somewhere and knows that her story finally got told. After the ceremony, Loretta found a quiet moment alone. She thought about everyone who had brought her to this point. Morrison still working at Thornwood, still protecting the vulnerable. Holloway, now a supervisor at Homeland Security, still fighting the battles most people never saw. Destiny running the Atlanta Center with the same fire that had sustained her through prison. Maya, now Dr. Maya Washington, treating autoimmune patients at Emory Hospital. And she thought about the women, the 22 she had saved from that warehouse. Carmen and the others scattered across the country rebuilding lives that had almost been stolen. All of them connected by threads of sacrifice and redemption that stretched back to a moment when a fat, middle-aged woman had stepped into a prison yard and refused to be broken. The sun was setting over Atlanta, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. Loretta's phone buzzed. A text from Maya. Dinner tonight, I have news. She smiled and typed back. Always. What news? Come find out. Bring tissues. 2 hours later. Maya's apartment. Loretta arrived to find her daughter pacing nervously, which was unusual for someone who remained calm during medical emergencies. What's going on? Sit down, Mama. That bad? Not bad, just big. Maya took a deep breath. I met someone, a resident at the hospital. His name is David. That's wonderful, baby. There's more. Maya's hands were shaking. We're engaged. He proposed last night. Loretta felt the world tilt on its axis. Her baby girl, engaged. Say something, Mama. I'm trying to find words. Give me a minute. Are you happy? Please tell me you're happy. Loretta pulled her daughter into a hug that contained 18 years of military service, prison time, sacrifice, and love so deep it had no bottom. I'm happy. I'm so happy I might explode. There's one more thing. More? Maya pulled back. Her eyes bright with tears and joy. I'm pregnant. You're going to be a grandmother. The words hit Loretta like a thunderbolt. A grandmother. After everything she had been through, after all the death and darkness and despair, she was going to hold a grandchild. How far along? 3 months. We wanted to wait until we were sure before telling anyone. Is the baby healthy? Perfect. All the tests came back normal. No signs of the autoimmune condition. The doctors say our family curse might end with me. Loretta sank into a chair, overwhelmed by emotion. Tears streamed down her face as the magnitude of the moment settled over her. Mama, are you okay? I'm better than okay. I'm everything I ever wanted to be. She looked up at her daughter, at this beautiful, brilliant woman who had fought death and won. When you were sick, when I was in prison, when everything seemed hopeless, I used to dream about this, about you being healthy, about you finding love, about our family continuing. And now it's real. Now it's real. They held each other in that small apartment as the sun finished setting and the stars began to emerge. 8 months later. The hospital. Loretta Washington held her granddaughter for the first time. 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Perfect health, a head full of dark hair, and her grandmother's stubborn chin. What's her name? Maya smiled from the hospital bed, exhausted but radiant. Elena Destiny Washington Chen, after the women who sacrificed everything so others could live. Loretta looked down at the tiny face at eyes that hadn't yet decided what color they would be at a future stretching out infinite with possibility. Hello, Elena. I'm your grandmother, and I have so many stories to tell you. The baby gurgled, which Loretta chose to interpret as agreement. David entered the room with flowers and the nervous energy of a new father. Everything good. Everything's perfect, Maya said. Mama was just introducing herself. Should I be worried? I've heard stories about grandmothers spoiling their grandchildren rotten. Very worried, Loretta said. This child is going to want for nothing. I'll make sure of it. She settled into a chair beside the bed, still holding Elena, and let herself exist fully in this moment. 52 years old. Former Marine Raider, former prisoner, founder of a nonprofit that had changed thousands of lives. And now, grandmother to a child who would grow up in a world made slightly better by the sacrifices of those who came before. Outside the hospital window, Atlanta stretched toward the horizon under a clear blue sky. Loretta thought about all the women she had known, the ones she had saved, the ones she couldn't save, The ones who had saved her when she didn't know she needed saving. She thought about Venom now serving life without parole in a federal facility, about Marcus Carter, whose empire had crumbled to dust, about all the monsters who had been stopped because ordinary people chose to do extraordinary things, and she thought about Maya, about Destiny, about Carmen and Margaret and Elena Vasquez, and every other woman who had refused to be broken by a world that tried so hard to break them. Mama? Yeah, baby. Thank you for everything, for fighting for me, for never giving up, for becoming what I needed you to be. That's what mothers do. No, that's what heroes do, and you've been my hero since the day I was born. Loretta looked at her daughter, then at her granddaughter, then at the future spreading out before them all. I'm not a hero. I'm just a woman who learned something important. What's that? That the most powerful force in the universe isn't military training or government resources or even justice. It's love. The love of a mother for her child. The love of a friend who refuses to let you fall. The love of strangers who see someone suffering and choose to help. She kissed Elena's forehead gently. That's what I want to teach this little one. That no matter how dark things get, no matter how impossible the odds seem, love wins. Always. Forever. Without exception. Maya reached out and took her mother's hand. I think she's already learning. They sat together as the afternoon light shifted and changed 3 generations of Washington women connected by bonds that no prison could contain, no illness could break, no evil could destroy. And in that hospital room surrounded by the people who mattered most, Sergeant Major Loretta Tank Washington finally understood what she had been fighting for all along. Not missions, not country, not honor, family, hope, tomorrow. The things worth dying for, the things worth living for, the only things that ever really mattered at all. Because in the end, we are not defined by the battles we fight or the enemies we defeat. We are defined by the people we love and the lengths we go to protect them. We are defined by the second chances we give and the second chances we take. We are defined by our refusal to surrender even when surrender seems like the only option. Loretta Washington was many things in her 52 years. Soldier, criminal, hero, mother, grandmother. But the title she cherished most was the simplest one of all, survivor, and that made all the difference.